Hey guys, your friendly neighborhood natty here. My name is Matthew, and today's video is going to be an unboxing of the new Colt King Cobra target. So the reason I ended up on the Colt King Cobra target was because my Shields credit card had been stunted. That's what I call it. It's basically when your credit card says nothing is due next month. So basically you have like 2 months to pay it off. Now, don't be too crazy, but you know, that's kind of like a pretty celebratory time for me. You know, it's like, oh great, like I can go spend something that I really want and really don't need. And so originally I was considering the Colt Python. That's kind of what the main one that I wanted, but it wouldn't be just for fun. You know, I have a lot of guns that are for fun like that. I would prefer more of like a regular combat gun, so it would be more like a 4-inch barrel. And so with that in mind, I went to Shields with 2 holsters. 2 of my main fighting holsters is going to be this regular shoulder holster, obviously for more of a winter carry. And then of course I have the IWB inside the waistband. They're both actually for K-frame guns. I will say that the Galco here, this is more specific to the K-frame, but this MASC International handmade holster, this one, I did buy the K-frame version, but this works just fine for the Colt Trooper, which is an I-frame, right? Yeah, it's the same frame as the Python, I believe. And I know some people might think that this is a big deal. I really don't. You know, as long as I can draw the gun just fine, then I feel like, you know, the definition of loose is not like this is falling out, you know what I mean? Like that's okay to me. But basically this holster is very open, very liberal. You know, there's possibilities it could hold a bigger gun, more than just K-frame. So those are the 2 holsters I brought to Shields, not with the firearms of course, just the holsters themselves. And I asked the guy, I said, all right, well, I want the Python, that's what I wanted, and I want to know if the 4-inch version will fit my K-frame holster. I understand that the Python's a different frame, but as I said, you know, this holster is very open, you know. Unfortunately, it couldn't. The Python was too tall for the holster. I think the guy tried to convince me that it could fit somewhat, but once again, it was like very rough kind of thing. So if it was rough trying to holster it, it's going to be rough drawing the gun out. So I didn't buy it. I was like, no, that doesn't work for me. So then we looked at I think it's the 2.5 to 3-inch Colt Python, the new one, and that one also simply didn't fit. Again, it's a taller gun, the Python's a taller frame, and of course this Galco K-frame is more specific to the K-frame, so there was just no way. So I was gonna go with just the Remington 51. They had the Remington M51, not the R51. They had the M51, and I was like, okay, well, just give me that gun and I'll pay for it and I'll go home. And so of course I was waiting, I looked around and I was like, oh, there's also the Colt King Cobra target, which I was like, duh, you know, that is I assumed it to be a smaller frame than the Python. And so when the guy came back while filling out the FBI thing, FBI form, filling out to get checked by the FBI, I was like, hey, can I see if that fits my holster too? And so we tried it, and it was about the same, you know, pretty close to the Colt Trooper. I think the King Cobra is a little bit bigger frame. We'll compare in a little bit here, but you know, it had this kind of not unreasonable loosey-goosey, but enough to where I can draw the gun pretty easy. And so with that, I said, you know what? I'll take that too. I'll take the M51, or not, yeah, the M51 and the Colt King Cobra target. And so that's how I ended up getting the Colt King Cobra target. The box here, I think they were going to give me a separate thing for the M51, but they said since Colt gives a big box, and I didn't know that, I always buy the old ones, so we didn't get a box with those. So I guess Colt makes really big boxes for you. That's pretty nice. They just put them in the same thing. So let me show you guys here. I'll move the paperwork out of there. But there you go. That is the Colt King Cobra in plastic wrap, and then of course we have the M51 right below it. So let me show you, well, let's talk about the M51 first. So I saw this gun, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I'd never heard of it, never seen it before. I understand this is what the R51 is based on, or the cursed the cursed R51 is based on this, the M51, but this isn't known to have all the problems that the R51 did. This is in 380 ACP. Something about Remington moving from this to 9mm just caused insane problems, and it was really bad. So this does not have that reputation. I think a lot of people like this gun. As I said, I've never seen it before. This was made in 1920 based on kind of the historical record. So it's about 100, how good is my math? 103 years old. So it's 20 years younger than my Colt 1878. But yeah, it's pretty neat, you know. I mean, it's got a magazine disconnect. So this trigger is not gonna fire without the magazine. And well, let me just check here. No bullets, but it's got a oh, this what is this? I would say so basically you can't pull the trigger if you don't pull this, but it's not going to fire because it doesn't have the magazine. But basically it's got that I guess grip safety, and then the trigger does not fire without the magazine. So now let's go ahead and put the magazine in there. There's no bullets in here, but I put the magazine in, right, and then we activate the grip safety, and now I can pull the trigger. So, you know, that's how that works. As far as lock back, it does lock back. There's kind of this nice nice lever right here, this boy, and what you're gonna do is if you pull him, well, actually I wonder if it will. No, it doesn't. Okay, so you have to, let's do it without the magazine. If you pull this out and then you move up the hold on, there we go. I'm left-handed, so it's a little difficult, but when you swing this I don't know, this guy up, it locks the slide back like this. So that's pretty neat. And then of course you can set him back. And yeah, it's not a small gun, but it's pretty nice. I like it. Very neat. 380 ACP. Let me know if you guys want me to shoot this gun. I probably will. Also, I gotta shoot my LCP-1 for a while because that's another main fighting gun that I don't shoot that much. But yes, very cool. You know, I saw it 2 weeks ago and I was like, the next time I go there, this is coming home with me. And it did. So now for the Colt King Cobra. Finally, let's talk about him here. Well, here he is. Woo! Pretty bright and shiny, isn't it? Here's the crazy thing. When I was looking at the Colt Python, it was brighter than this. So if you think this is bright, you can get brighter if you get the Colt Python. So, let me, do you mind if I take off these stickers? It's kind of, there we go. Now, okay, how do they do this? This little ropey action in here. Come on. Come on, buddy. Wow. There we go. Got everything off. Okay. Colt King Cobra. This is the one. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. I think first of all, the one thing that throws off its look is that this QR code right here. I think that it's terrible and unnecessary, but you know, given how small it is, yes, I can't complain that much. And then also I have to say that this Colt King Cobra, this is actually smaller than the old Colt King Cobra. So the old ones, they're actually bigger. I believe they're bigger than the Python. And then these are smaller than the Python. Well, obviously, because the Python wouldn't fit in my holster, but this one would. So that's pretty interesting. Another thing too is that it's also got a V. So I'll put a picture of it on the screen for you here, but there's a V there, and I'm not really sure what that V is. I know that with the Colt Python, they had some issues when that gun came out Golden Web has it documented the best, where he shows that the Python has some blemishes, you know, and we can have our arguments about that, but for the price, you can complain about the blemishes. And then the function, it stopped working basically, and it was because the side plate was coming loose, so they didn't Loctite the screw enough, and that causes the gun wouldn't function. And so when Colt fixed that, the Pythons, they have an L. They stamped an L in the crane. That way they knew that if it came back, did it or did it not get fixed already. And as far as I've heard, there hasn't been any issues with that. As far as why the Colt King Cobra has the V, I'm not 100% sure. I have not heard of any issues with the Colt King Cobra. I can certainly fire the gun and be and be the test subject for it, but I don't know if that's just something they did or if they're doing the same thing. Another thing I want to say is that the, what's it called? Flame cutting. There's quite some flame cutting on this gun. I'll take a picture and show you afterwards, but you know, it's quite noticeable. You know, it doesn't seem to me, I don't know if I would call that factory. Like, I mean, Shield sold me this gun at MSRP, okay? They did that to me last time too with LCP1, okay? So they really, you know, if you're gonna screw me at MSRP, it better be damn new. But yeah, this flame cutting looks like, I don't know, what do you guys think? Do you think that's factory work, or it was fired more than factory? How many times would the factory need to fire the gun besides, like, I don't know, 6 shots? Maybe 12 if they were a little curious. You know, so I'm not sure about that flame cutting, but it, for the price that I paid right at MSRP, then the gun better be new. But yeah, let me know. Maybe your guys' guns have the same thing, or if that's normal flame cutting, all of them do that, then that's fine, you know, but yeah, who knows, I guess. Now as far as the trigger itself, well, I tell you what, I think that, you know, the Colt King Cobras, probably the Pythons, last time I checked those, I do believe that their double action is better than the old Colt Python, depending on which one you have, I guess. And then their single action is not as good. So their single action, I feel like it could use some work. The single action is not, it's a little rough when it lets go. And then the double action is going to be, I kind of like it. Some people might think it's really a little bit rough and heavy, but I kind of like that, I guess, for double action. So I think the double action is better, but the single action is not as good. So we can look at some of these old boys. You guys know I got the old boys. You know, I got this Colt Trooper. No, this is not a Trooper, it's Official Police. See how confused I am? The single action I feel like is really, oh, it's a lot better. It's a lot better. Now the double action is, I don't know. It's questionable, but it's, you know, it's not that bad. Colt Trooper, single action once again is just superior. I mean, I don't think the new Colts stand anything against the single action. The double action, ooh, I'd say that's pretty even, pretty close to even. And then, to be unfair, we also have the Colt Python, of course, which the single action is insanely good. Nobody's going to match that. Now the double action I don't like. I don't like the double action on the Python. This one I really don't like. Really hard for me to keep steady. Much easier for me to keep steady on the new Colt King Cobra. Now one more point I want to touch on is going to be the VP symbol. So the VP symbol, you'll see it in this the picture I took of the V. It's a little bit, I would say, undefined and not really clear. So I went ahead and took a picture of the Python. I know that's unfair because it's the Python, but just to show you, I don't think it's the lighting. You know, I think they're using some kind of different stamping method on the new Colts compared to the old ones. Because even on my old Colts, the Official Police and the Trooper, and even without the Python's shine, it still looks more defined and clear than the Colt King Cobra VP symbol. So I guess that might be something out there, is that Colt doing something new with that, or redoing that. I'm not sure. And then I also like to say that the hammer and possibly the trigger on this gun, they appear to me to be possibly MIM, just in the sense of how they look. You know, they look very like they don't have the same polish and shine as the rest of the gun, which, I mean, like, I guess that makes sense. Why would you do that? Unless on the Python they would do that, but I don't know. I just get the sense that it's metal injection molded and not really like a, you know, a polished part or anything like that. So very interesting. I don't think I have much more to say about the new Colt King Cobra. Of course, I mean, I could have bought a Python, but again, like, it wouldn't serve a purpose. You know, it would just be like all my other fancy guns. I still have the MAS-73, and that gun is just, it just sits in its box. It's a $3,000 gun. It just sits in its box. It stays nice. So I tried to just be like, okay, buy something that you at least know you'll shoot, you'll test it out, and yeah, Colt King Cobra, new. I hope you guys liked the video. That's really all I have to say, just showing you guys what I got. If you have any questions, please ask. I'd be happy to look over it if I can, you know, if I missed anything. It's always a possibility with me. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye now.
You learned martial arts! Martial arts, go!